Hey guys, it's Brett here. Just going to show you quickly how to pack up the camper and you'll get an idea of how to set it up then. So first of all, when you unhitch it, a couple of chains obviously, you've got a jockey wheel. This will be in the boot here, the front boot, which is locked with a key. Open it up, you can undo this, take the jockey wheel off, pop it in the boot, and you'll find it when you actually want to set it up. Get the jockey wheel out of the boot, set it up there. You want to give it a couple of big hits with a hammer to really tighten it, because if that slips down while it's carrying the full load, it's really hard to jack it back up and put it back on again. And you've got two gas cylinders. This one's for the Barbie. This one is for the inside fridge and the gas bottle, or the gas grills. And we've got a big jerry can of water here. The other thing in the front here is you've got two support struts for the front bed. So you've got to take them out, put them in when you're setting it up, and this whole thing will slide out. We've also got some bag awnings on the front and backs. You don't need to do the front and back bag awnings. I just set them up here to dry them out. They add like 10-15 minutes to set up, but gives you a little bit of extra shade if you want it. But yeah, if you don't have that, basically it's just still a waterproof canvas tent inside. I'll take you through that in a second. Now on the inside here, a couple of things you want to set up at the end, or even when you're packing it up, is these kind of slide out here like that and pop down. So once that's kind of folded down, it helps to kind of get it all flat. So kind of make sure that kind of gets flat. You want to also make sure that nothing's kind of above that line there, so that when it all folds up, nothing's going to be in the way. So little things like this ladder needs to be down. All the pillows need to be in this middle area here, like that. Make sure there's no pillows over there, and just check there's nothing that's gonna stop it from folding up. And then you want to pack up the other end down here as well. That'll push forward. This can have a few things in it, just tea towels and cloths, but make sure it's not too full. Then you've got the door to pack up as well, so I'll show you how to do that. But first, the back end bed has these pins in it just down here, and they're kind of, you need to have at least one of these pins in there, but essentially it stops it from coming back in. So you can get it out with a screwdriver, and then normally just push them in. Yeah, I just wiggle that out with my fingers. So you can see that little pin there, and there's one on the other side, and we just put them in the top drawer here. Some nappy crit ice cream in there for you if you need it. Yeah, this one was a bit tight. So if you just start unscrewing it, it comes out, and that helps you just to grab it and yank it out. And the master bed, the bigger bed, doesn't actually have those pins, doesn't need it. There's a screwdriver in that front door if you need it. This thing here is you've got a Velcro strip at the top here, and it's a fly wire. Really useful. It means you don't have to keep the door closed. You'll see it just sitting there on the thing when you set it up. Okay, so now the door. So essentially, when you want to pack it up or when you want to set it up, the actual tent comes away from the door. You see that there's some Velcro in there. And the door just sits in a couple of hinges on top of that. So when you're setting it up, you can just push that in. Attach the Velcro. When you're packing it up, just do the reverse. And you'll see up here there's a couple of like little clips. Pull that one in. Pull that one in, and now the whole door will basically lift up. It's kind of the top half of the door collapses. So we just pull that one off there. There was a clip on there, but it broke off. But it still works. Right, close it up. Kind of click, click. And you'll see how that whole door kind of lifts up now. and it actually folds up onto the roof. So this kind of folds in and up, and it lays flat across the roof here. Yeah, so I just lifted that up. It's sitting on the roof now. There's a couple of little clips there that you just clip it onto, and that's now on the roof. Yeah, so that's all you need to do on the inside, and the rest of the stuff's all on the outside. I should just tell you about power. So there's a couple of USB ports here, and there's a 12-volt cigarette lighter there. There's more of those 12-volt things in this electronics drawer down here. Find stuff in there, lots of bits and pieces. There's a projector. If you've actually got an Android phone, you can connect it up with that. There's a silver dongle in there somewhere. You also need to, if you want power to run off the batteries, I'll show you how to set that up. Alright, so move those cushions in there. Get access to this cupboard in here. So this little green switch down here, on and off, that's an inverter. So basically it powers off this massive battery. There's another giant battery under the sink. And it's this pack here that runs off an inverter that's kind of just sitting under the sink there. So you'll find there's an extension cord here. And you can actually run, when it's on, like another electrical point and stuff like that. So you can run pretty much most appliances. It's supposed to be rated for like drills and electrical materials, but I've only tested really like an ice maker and a couple other things. But if you use it for mobile, it should pretty much last you the whole long weekend. So yeah, turn that on when you want to use it. You can leave it on, it's fine. It does draw quite a bit of power even when it's like just sitting there not being used. So I kind of turn it off when it's traveling or packing it up. Cushion's back on. So these power points over here only work when there's actually the mains is plugged just on the outside there, which we've got now. The fridge, turn it to AC if it's plugged in like at a powered site. Off in general. And you can switch it to gas. So turn it to gas. You basically hold down the on while you're sparking it, and you'll basically see that thing move to the middle when it's on. And with the gas stove, you have to make sure this is right back for it to work, and then you can turn these on, and they've got a little sparker there. So this thing's kind of handy. There's two boxes that go inside there and there. I've just stacked them under there for now. And we normally put the ice maker on top. But if you're running off batteries, you'll have to run the extension cord to run the ice maker. So you might want to set it up in here somewhere. Just fill it up with water below the ice tray line and turn it on. That'll make ice for you. And then to pack this thing up, the lid comes off, shove it in there. And then this thing, you kind of got to lift it up above this thing here. So much easier to do when the door's off. Kind of lift it up high, and we just lay it down there in the galley. And there'll be all this room here at the front. You can kind of stack all any other things you want to take camping with you. Yeah, just like that. The lock's broken. You can pretty much use any key to open and close it. Lock it up. Slide that in there. Inside here is a barbecue. The lock's a little bit dodgy. Little barbecue in there. I kind of find if you do it like a full rotation and then come back a little bit, it pops out. That's annoying. Yeah. Alright, so the awning, there's a pole there. These kind of click up from down here, and then as you lift up they kind of get locked in. I normally like put the peg in first, get this pole ready, and then do the same on this side, and then go and set up these middle struts. That kind of is the easiest way to do it, to set it up. Unpacking it, it's kind of like, you can do it in any order really. It'll just get in the way. And for these poles, I'm just laying them inside the center galley as well. There's more poles in this pole container there, but I'm just finding because we always use this awning, it's so useful just to pop them in the middle here. It's the first thing you set up. On the back of it, there's some more Velcro sections. They kind of stop it, I guess they stop the pole from weathering, which is good. So nice to keep them all protected. But you've got to remember to undo them when you're packing up, because it doesn't fold up very well without it. So yeah, if you find it's not packing down, it's because you've either forgotten those, the door, or one of the poles for the awnings, which is going to happen. If you do want to set up these outside shade things, just a couple of Oki straps kind of stop it from blowing away. You don't need to do the poles. But these poles on the back bed and the front bed, you do need. You see that all the edges just come across from that Velcro. So once the pin's out and that center bit's down, you'll find that it'll just start pushing in a little bit. We lift up that and you put those two poles underneath the bed here. Yeah, so it pushes right in. Then you find just a little bit of folding to push that canvas in. You can still keep everything else nice and dry, even if you're packing it up wet. So the tent pegs are underneath there. You can actually see like inside the caravan there too. And that's it. So when you're winding it down, you just want to kind of walk around it a couple of times and make sure that none of the canvas is getting caught. Yeah, so with that bar that we fold down from the inside, I kind of just make sure it's kind of can fit flush. And then we do the same thing with these poles out here. Lift the bed up a little bit. That one sits on that pole there. Sometimes I accidentally try and connect it to that, which is, I don't know why, but I seem to do it every time. Unclick from there. Undo the Velcro. These ones too. That's it. And you find that'll just push in pretty easily. If it doesn't, you've probably forgotten the poles. And again, we put the poles underneath the bed, just inside there as well. So the folding, you kind of don't want it scrunched up anywhere, so it's kind of like just flattening it all out as much as possible. Yeah, this is the key for that front boot. So you want to grab this little duvelaki. And this section here is where you wind it up and down. You'll see that there's a direction. So obviously clockwise is up, anti-clockwise is down. And you just kind of wind it slowly, keeping an eye on making sure all four sides are going down evenly. It's kind of annoying being under the canvas, so you can't see very clearly. But yeah, winding it. And when you get to about halfway, kind of walk around the tent and push all the canvas in, make sure nothing's sticking out and all the corners are going down. And you just do that a couple of times to make sure that it's going to be able to compact down enough to do the clips up. Yeah, so you can see it's kind of hanging out a tiny bit. Push it in. Good thing to get the kids to do while you're winding. So when it stops clicking, it kind of means is at the end. So I kind of wind it back to get at least one click. And you find you just kind of pull down on these. That lifts up there. That's the little clip. Lifts up there. If you need more give, you can do that. But yeah, just put a lot of downward pressure on the top here. And you'll find that once you do all four, you can probably go back and tighten them a bit more. They do kind of come loose sometimes and pop off on the road, but we've only ever had one at a time do it. Not, oh, yeah, that one went on pretty easily. So I find a good measure is if you keep them as they were, it's a good measure as to what they should go down to. That one was a bit harder. Okay, so that's never happened before. I can't get this one down, so I'll have to open it up and see why. There's probably a pillow or something in there. It was that hanging tea towel thing. It was stacked full of way too much stuff. Okay, that's all four popped down. Now this thing here is for the solar panel on the roof. You'll find that just underneath where they are, there's a wound up cable that's kind of connected to itself back here. That one, just disconnect it, unwind all the cord and basically connect it. It's a pretty old solar panel, so it charges pretty slowly, but I've set up this Anderson cable here, which in the front boot of the thing there's a solar blanket, and we've just been laying that across the top before we wind it up and connecting it with the extension cord. You'll see the extension cord kind of looks like that. Kind of like that. They're called Anderson plugs, and so that basically connects directly to the battery. So you can plug things in like the shower, outside here to run the shower out of the jerry can, but you can also plug the solar blanket into it to basically charge the battery. So it kind of works double, and you can have both solar things working at the same time. So this lead going up there as well as the solar blanket that's in the boot. But this one here is actually for the reverse camera. So you know the reverse camera is on at night time because the light is on for that reverse camera. But yeah, you basically, before you head off anywhere, just connect it up and the reverse camera works. They go in really easy. Click. We've also got down here is the grey water pipe. If you do want to use the sink and have water coming out of it, you just connect that to this thing here and just run it to somewhere where no one's going to mind it running to. And yeah, there's kind of like just an elastic strap there holding that one on. It's kind of a bugger to get in and out. And that's kind of it. Oh yeah, so this is the handbrake. You can take that off when you're ready to go. There's also a level there, so you know whether you're on level ground. And then on all four sides you've got these stabilizers. They can't take the full weight of the trailer, but they're used to basically stop it from rocking too much. So you first want to find some flat ground, because you can't use these to really counter the flat ground. And then you put these down on all four sides. There's a piece of wood under each one, just in case it's a bit muddy. Helps make it a bit more stable. In this kit, you I've made this a little bit easier. So you kind of just grab that guy, the longest extender, and then the biggest one here. And then you just, on all four sides, get onto that little nut there. And it's kind of like, when you're tightening it, it makes it come up. So it's kind of like when you're loosening it, it makes it go down. Grab the wood, the second one. Just going to throw the wood down that corner there. You can also disconnect the camera with these cables here. There's the third one done. So now just the fun job of packing up all these bag awnings. The little ones are okay. The big one, it's easier with two people for sure, but there is a technique to it. My previous owner said that this front bag used to flap around a bit, so we put this ocky strap on there. yeah, so 15 minutes for those front and back awnings. They're just a pain in the ass. So unless you really need them, I wouldn't bother. And the trick to the really big awning is to fold these corners in so that nothing's wider than that hole and everything's kind of folded in. And I kind of use like the Velcro and those ropes up there to kind of hold that in. So the nicer it's folded, it's easier just to roll it up. One person jobs.